Let's start with Congressman Griffith. Question for Mo Brooks.
Mo, given you're an attorney and county commissioner, how do you feel like you're qualified to create jobs and put America back on a responsible track?
Thank you for that question, Parker. I've been elected 4 times to the Alabama legislature. While in the legislature, I was elected House Minority Leader 3 different times. I mention that as indicative of leadership. I've also served as an assistant district attorney in Tuscaloosa and a district attorney in Madison County. I've also been elected 4 times to the Madison County Commission. Now, interestingly, with respect to those 8 elections for the legislature and county commission positions which are policy related, the average vote of the citizenry I represent in the general election is somewhere in the 80-81 percentile range. So I think that shows to listeners out there that at least the people I've represented over the years as a county commissioner and as a state legislator tend to agree with the public policy positions I take and the efforts I am involved in creating jobs. Now let's get to the jobs issue more specifically. I'm a part owner of a law firm. As such, we create jobs. We bring money into the Tennessee Valley. Our principal client is up in Wisconsin, and there are 13 or 14 employees at any one time, so there has been some job creation. Moving on to the federal government, it is not the federal government's duty to create jobs. Rather, it is the federal government's duty to create an environment in which America's small businessmen and entrepreneurs can create jobs. And sometimes, say with Barack Obama and the policy of the socialists, they seem to think that the only good job is a government job. I disagree. All the government jobs, where do they come from? They come from taxes that are first taken from people in the private sector. And so I am a strong believer in the free enterprise system. I'm a strong believer in creating an environment in which we can be more competitive. Having said that, that means that we have to be more aggressive in our foreign trade. We have to reduce taxes and regulatory burdens on our businesses that make us less competitive. We have to, with respect to clean air and clean water, I'm a firm believer in fair trade, not necessarily free trade, although I used to be a firm believer in free trade. We got to balance the playing field so that if we're going to impose environmental control costs on American companies, well then, by golly, if there are competitors across the oceans that are not similarly incurring costs for environmental controls, and we have to have tariffs that will help offset that competitive advantage that we are giving to foreign nations. Finally, 8 to 10 million jobs can be created immediately if we will elect someone to the United States Congress who will aggressively take on the illegal alien issue and take those jobs from illegal aliens and return them to our own American citizens.
Congressman, do you have a rebuttal? And in particular, are you in favor of tariffs?
I have a rebuttal that if his experience in creating jobs is opening up a law practice, that's not significant. A professional opening up an office is hardly creating jobs in the spirit of reducing our unemployment rate. I have a track record in this community of creating businesses and beginning new businesses and ventures. And I think my experience speaks for itself. I would certainly like to see that contrast. Also, I'd like to say that I have the highest rating in the state from the Minutemen, who are an organization that is dedicated to closing the border and not allowing illegal immigration into the United States. My rating by the Minutemen is the highest in the state. Also, I have just been awarded the Spirit of Enterprise Award by the National Chamber of Commerce. I have been endorsed by all of our Alabama delegation, the Alabama Farmers Federation, and the National Association of Realtors. They understand I know how to create jobs, and they understand that I understand their businesses. And so my question was about that. Now, tariffs. Yes, I think on occasion tariffs could be effective, particularly if you have a country that is using the goodwill of the American worker to their advantage and taking advantage of our marketplace. But in general, I'm not a tariff person. in general, I think it eventually leads, one tariff leads to another tariff, and there's a tariff war, and a trade war, and it doesn't do any of us any good. So, but I think my experience in creating jobs, being in the business world, understanding how things work, will allow me to participate in creating jobs here in the Tennessee Valley, knowing the ins and outs of businesses and how they work.
Mo, is